Thanks for tuning in to 101.3 BKMG The Farce, coming to you live from separate places, pre-recorded. Now presenting The Bane and Mickey Show.
Wonderful.
We did it.
Yay.
Still got it.
Well, hello. Thank you. Welcome. Hi. Good to see you.
Hello. Hi.
Let's just get right into it, I guess. Shall we, Gavin?
Yes.
I think we shall.
All right.
Notes.
Welcome back, everybody.
Hello.
This is number 10, I think. I believe.
Have you really been hanging around for 10 weeks?
We
Thank you.
appreciate it. And to reward you, we have a very special guest with us today.
Oh, do I introduce myself?
Lexi Phillips. I mean, yeah, you can if you
I'm
want.
Lexi.
This is Lexi. Lexi's a good friend. Lexi was my roommate for a time. Lexi went to film school. Lexi studied screenwriting.
Yes, she did. I did all
This
those
is Lexi. Yeah. And you did a lot of journalism and whatnot. So yeah, so we decided to bring Lexi in today for a bit of a deeper topic. No Spider-Man
More serious than
or
our usual
funny
stuff.
movies. Well, I don't know.
Or whatever our last one was that
Honestly,
I can't remember.
whatever happened. Yeah. Today we have decided to talk about the Me Too movement and sort of what that means for the industry and art and the good and the bad and all that. Primarily good. But before we get into that, because I'm dumb, Lexi, have you seen anything good recently?
Honestly, okay. I started rewatching 90210, like the 2008 reboot or whatever. Yes, it's a shitty CW teen drama, but I love it. That's the good thing I've watched. Is that a cat?
That's,
Oh
It
my
is.
God.
That's Stitch.
Okay,
Yes, it is.
speaking of cats, though, oh my God, I love him. So yesterday I decided to watch The Lion King, the live action, for the first time.
Oh, I was gonna say Cats is now on HBO.
Oh God. No, but I honestly wasn't paying too much attention to it, but my roommate's cat loved it. Spent like 20 minutes sitting on the TV stand and stared at it. It was pawing at the screen. It was so cute.
Aww.
So that's me.
That's cute. Gavin, have you seen my cat?
my cat also loves TV. Recently, what have I watched? Because they're releasing a new season, I watched Animaniacs, or I've been rewatching Animaniacs. And I watched the last two How to Train Your Dragon movies, finally, after however many years, and they were really good. I was not disappointed.
Which one is the third one?
Hidden World,
Is that the one with the girl dragon?
yes.
Okay, I have seen the third one then. What's the second one?
The second one is where they're older, and there's the dragon hunters, and there's the two giant dragons with horns, and Hiccup's mom comes back.
This.
That's what they do. They fight with their horns like this.
Great. Cool.
What about you,
I
Kendall?
watched Scoob,
Ugh.
the new Scoob
Was it good?
movie. It was really cute. It is very much a kids movie, and it has a really weird there's a whole underworld, ancient civilization plot, whatever. But it's really cute. It has an adorable little backstory, and it has all the good everything that is in the original Scooby-Doo. Jokes and phrases, and the characters are cute and great, and yeah.
Nice.
I mean, it's not the original Scooby-Doo. And I would say it is a little more kid-based. But it was still enjoyable,
Nice.
I would say. Also, it's kind of it starts on Halloween. And so I was like, is this a Halloween movie? I don't know. But
I couldn't watch it because they did the voice cast dirty, and they didn't use the one from the cartoon, which really bummed me out.
I was surprised at the voice cast when I looked it up. I was like, oh, wait. That's who that... Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But...
Anyway, moving on from that to the serious matter at hand.
Indeed. Well, I guess I was trying to find the exact year that this went down. Lexi, do you remember what exact year?
You mean like when the Weinstein thing came out?
I
Yeah,
think so,
I was
yeah.
just reading
that's
about it. Let me see if I took it in my notes. Of course, I didn't. Hold on, let me look it up really quick.
Oh, I just found somewhere the fall of 2017.
Yeah,
wow.
no, that tracks. Yeah,
Yep. So it's been 3 years.
It
Wow.
has been
Oh
3
my
years.
gosh.
yeah,
And he only recently
So,
just got put in jail. That's garbage.
yeah.
yeah. So for those that I guess maybe you were not aware or you maybe were younger and didn't involve yourself in these things, let's just do, I guess, a basic overview of what the Me Too movement is.
Yeah.
Yeah, do you have words for that, Lexi?
Yeah.
I could say words, but my words would not be as good.
I can say words, sure. So it started with an expose in the New York Times and the New Yorker. There were, I believe, two different ones, like days apart, so around the same time. And I believe it started with Ashley Judd, who's an actress. She said about 20 years ago, she was invited over by Weinstein for what she thought was a business meeting, but then turns out they had her sent to his room, and he asked if he could give her a massage or if she could watch him shower. And so, a lot of sexual misconduct, and then after that, a lot of women started coming forward. His employees, actresses, things like that. A lot of sexual misconduct. Even big names like Gwyneth Paltrow was one of them. The accusations basically spanned across like almost 3 decades. And so from there, then a lot of people started coming forth about their own experiences with other men in Hollywood and in the entertainment industry. So yeah.
It was kind of like a ripple effect, kind of domino effect
Yeah.
after that. After the first one, it really opened up a pathway for these voices to come out and to speak about things that are hidden behind doors
Right.
in an industry that is all kinds of fucked up
Yeah.
and has been for since its start. So
Yeah,
Since,
absolutely.
the very, very beginning. And then, I'm not sure timeline wise, but I think the next, like, really big case was probably Kevin Spacey and Anthony Rapp, um, where they said that Kevin Spacey tried to, like, or Anthony Rapp was saying that Kevin Spacey tried to come on to him and get him drunk when he was 17 or
14.
something. 14. Well, that's way, way worse.
It's all bad, but it's much worse, yeah.
It's all bad, but it doesn't make it any better.
Yeah.
And then or I think this was actually before, was Bill Cosby and the Roofies, which was just awful. Awful. It's all awful, awful. But that one was really terrible.
Well, and it's crazy too because, I mean, with Bill Cosby, everyone saw him as this, funny grandpa guy, or at least I did. I don't know, but
family
same
man
with
kind of.
like Weinstein was seen before this as like a champion of women, and I know we'll go on to Louis C.K. eventually. He was seen like a lot of his jokes were about, men being gross and stuff. So it's weird how much irony there is there.
Yeah. And also, like, leading up to it, what was there that was just overlooked or just kind of brushed off,
Exactly.
Right.
unfortunately.
And how it went on for so long with, like, people just not saying anything because they felt like they couldn't, which is...
Yeah, because...
But
yeah.
it's really the core of, I think, the issue. Correct me if I'm wrong at any point.
I mean, that's why no one came forward until 2017, just because that's, in... I don't know if how much they've changed it and whatnot. But, if you were to come forward with something like that, you just get blacklisted. No one cares that you're the victim of
And you
horrible.
wouldn't even be labeled as a victim then. It'd be your
Right.
fault.
You just get blacklisted, which is like, okay, but it should be the other way around.
Right.
Right.
So, yeah.
And I mean, it's an entire culture too. I mean, I remember growing up, when I hear about Hollywood, I hear about the casting couch, and that's just something that was like, oh, the casting couch, and now looking back, like, that's horrifying. That's not something that we should have been taking lightly.
Right.
And it was all put
Right.
on the women too, like, oh, the women are sleeping with directors and producers to get parts, when really, like, it's...
And you're almost like told that's what you have to do to get a job or to get a career, get your name in Hollywood. Whether it's in films, there's plenty of films where they establish that, or whether it's just in, documentaries or whatever. But I think also growing up, you kind of like, not that it's normalized, but it's kind of like, oh yeah, people do that because
Because they feel like they have to, or they feel like they're being forced to, or
Right.
for like being blacklisted, like you were saying. I don't remember exactly where I read it, but it was talking about how like when these things happen to women, it's still put on the women, like this happened to her, not he did this, which I thought was kind of like eye-opening and really interesting.
And that's just, I think, something that the movement has helped with, is turning around that the language culture, and really acknowledging what is actually going on and not washing it over, whatever.
Sweeping it under the rug.
Yeah. Well, one reason we decided to talk about this today is because of the way it affects movies and the industry, but also as an audience member, how you can still watch films with people that have been, I don't know how to phrase that.
Me too is what they say, but like they've been put through this whole thing, like pretty much any movie from the Weinstein Company, like
Outed,
is
I
it
guess.
okay to still watch those? Because it has his name on it, but
Or I know a American Beauty is like a classic film, and it stars Kevin Spacey.
Usual Suspects.
How can we still watch these films or still appreciate the good things in these films, but also being heavily aware and acknowledging what's behind it, I guess. What are your thoughts on that, Lexi?
I think kind of like what you just said. I think it's... Sorry, a light just flickered in my room, and there's no light in my room, so I don't know what the fuck just happened. Anyways, I think kind of like what you just said, where I think we should still be able to appreciate these movies, because I feel like to say that, oh, we can't watch this movie anymore, this movie's canceled, whatever, because of this one person, kind of takes away from the effort that everyone else put into it. So I think we should still be able to appreciate that, but we also do need to be aware of how their actions and their viewpoints have affected this movie. Like, or if you look at like Louis C.K.'s comedies, to see how his mindset, how his perspective plays into that, and be aware of that. Also, I mean, I try not to at least give money to movies that are like from the Weinstein Company or something, which I'm not saying pirate your movies,
but be aware of, if you're going to buy a movie or rent a movie,
be aware where your money's going.
Being aware of, versus you could see if someone owns it already, that you could borrow it from them if you want to watch it, or find, I was going to say like renting versus, I don't know. It does make, I mean, because the royalties and whatnot will still, unfortunately, go it's still
Yeah.
connected to those names, but
Is Weinstein still getting royalties from his movies? Because I know he got cut out
I
of
don't
the
know.
company.
That's
Can
a
you
good
get
question.
royalties in prison?
I mean, maybe. Maybe.
I don't know.
I don't really know much about prison. Um, well, the thing specifically with Weinstein is so like I like a lot of Kevin Smith movies, but he made a lot of movies with Weinstein. So like, um, I can't really. I don't like. I bought some of the older ones like before a lot of this all came out, but now it's like, do I want to buy the new ones or
Right.
buy some of the ones I don't have? Because am I supporting Weinstein or am I supporting like Kevin Smith? Like it's sort of
Exactly, yeah. It's like a weird, tricky situation. There's no black and white to it.
Okay, so from what it looks like, he is cut from the general salary, but he still has like stock holding shares or something in the company
so
or
I
something.
don't
So,
know about
so
royalties then.
yeah, so he could still. I don't know.
I don't know all about all this stuff.
It's a lot of lawyer speak. I'm not too familiar
I
with.
went to film school.
Not
Oh, it's
lawyer
basically his
school.
basically as the company gains value or whatever, his shares gain value.
All
So
right.
he could profit off of the shares,
Okay.
but he cannot get royalties.
Interesting.
Okay. Well,
Okay.
But it would be still, even buying movies or whatever. Yes, the royalties will go to the company, and the company will,
Right.
Which can we just end the company and start afresh?
Yeah, start a
don't
new
know.
company.
Am I gonna?
yeah,
Yeah.
are they even still making movies?
Yeah,
Are they?
yeah. I'm pretty
I
sure.
haven't seen any, but I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
Or they were.
I think
They made some that came out, I think, between 2016 and 2018 that maybe had been in the works or whatever, but I don't know.
Also, interesting fact that I forgot about. This is not related to that, but it is related to Weinstein. So Ronan Farrow, one of the major investigative reporters who dropped one of the exposés, is the son of Woody Allen. And also,
Oh.
why hasn't Woody Allen been, like, why is he still doing things?
I mean, why are so many people still doing things, it again comes back to that, like, maybe you're not as big of a name, and so you feel like your voice or your impact isn't gonna have an impact, or you're speaking out about someone who is so big and so idolized that people are gonna go against you, because of it. It just, it's all it's all kinds of fucked up, and there's still plenty of people that need to be taken out of the industry. That unfortunately are still allowed to continue, and I mean that's unfortunately how it is in any industry.
Right.
But it's something that this movement has helped at least bring a voice and bring it to light, at least, so that people are hopefully and ideally becoming more aware and trying to prevent, taking preventative actions and whatnot.
Yeah.
I mean, in terms of liking movies or watching movies with these filmmakers and actors and whatnot, I think just being aware, that's the important part, is being aware as you watch them or as you participate in them I like what you were saying, Lexi, about like appreciating the work that everyone else put into it, because there's hundreds of, if not thousands, of people that put work into films, especially big studio ones. And so appreciating all of that time and energy and work that is put into it, and then, just being aware that, something else was going on and we don't want to support that, but we can at least support the good, I guess.
sort of like the disclaimers that Disney puts on some of their older films that are like, there are racial and racist depictions in these movies that don't reflect now, but taking them out would be to basically say that they didn't happen.
Yeah.
So it's in a
That's
similar
kind of like,
vein.
I mean, this is going to be way off, but that's kind of gets into like books that high schools ban for reading, and that just makes me think of like Huckleberry Finn and whatever, because it's like, yeah, you have to acknowledge that it happened,
But you don't have to
but
say it's a good thing.
right,
Yeah.
right. Just teach teach what's important here,
A weird thing though, on the Disney front. So when Disney Plus came out, my roommate and I decided to rewatch Hannah Montana, as one does. And there's an episode where a character's name is Isis, and they censored half of her name, so it would just say Ice.
Wait. What?
Yeah. I was like, why does this sound
They do
weird?
a
And
lot
then I
of
was like,
weird
oh, her name's
censoring.
Isis. What? So,
At that point, I would just like go through and change the name.
yeah.
They did a similar thing on Lilo and Stitch. So I don't know if you ever saw the original cartoon, but at one point Lilo goes and hides in a dryer. But they
Like
changed
the
it.
series?
No, in the actual movie, in the
Oh,
original
yeah,
movie,
okay.
she goes and hides in a dryer. But they changed it to a kind of like a garbage thing with a pizza box in front of it that she comes out of now. Which is weird because one, it's next to a washer, and you see it later, and there's a dryer there.
That's
I want to
so
say I
weird.
watched the original one where she goes.
No, I've seen the original too, but it was really weird because someone was
I
like,
don't
"Yeah,
know
they
if I've
changed it."
seen the changed one.
Check it out on Disney Plus. It's weird.
That's
Weird.
so weird.
Well, how has this whole thing changed Hollywood and changed the film industry? And I would say it's changed in positive ways, for sure, but I think probably also negatively with how ineffective some of the results have been. Is that how
Yeah.
you would put it? I don't know.
I feel like we're better at holding people accountable. If someone does bad, at least as an audience, genuinely try to make that known and try to make a difference in their career. Like, I've noticed a lot of people, try to be like, hey, why is this person who's shitty being allowed to do all these things? And sometimes that makes a difference, sometimes it doesn't. I also think that women are feeling more, I don't know if validated is the right word, but we are hearing about sexual assault more, which of course is bad because it means that is happening, but so many cases of sexual assault or sexual harassment, whether on a big scale like that or on a everyday scale, so many of them go unreported, and I'm glad that now we do have that little bit of a push to report them and to try to hold people accountable. However, like you said, I feel like it hasn't made as big of an impact as it should have. I mean, Louis C.K. is back in comedy. He's back doing things. I don't know. I know he had his comedy special. I don't know if he's done anything else. Kevin Spacey. Has Kevin Spacey been doing anything? He got kicked out of Baby Driver.
He hasn't been doing it. He hasn't done anything.
Yeah, I think
for
Baby
anyone?
Driver was the last one, but also that came out, and then that came out right before.
But they're making another one.
They are.
But he's not in that
Interesting.
because he died in that one.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So
Sorry,
it's,
did die. Who
um,
was it? It wasn't Baby Driver. What movie were they making
I was
where
just
they had
thinking
to
about
recast
I
it?
have it. Hold
You
on.
know,
It's All the Money.
All the Money in the World.
Yeah,
Yes, that's
All the
right. They
Money in the
recast him with Christopher Plummer,
Uh-huh.
and which I think is I like that story for two reasons. One, they changed him, but two, because they originally wanted Christopher Plummer, but I think they were sort of told to go with Kevin Spacey, so they got to do what they wanted in the first place.
Yeah.
Did you guys hear that
Which-
Ansel Elgort now is creepy?
Really?
Although I don't know.
I have not heard that.
It was like a few months ago someone came forward about it, but I don't know. I don't remember if it just kind of went away or if the person retracted their statements or what. But
Yeah.
I don't know.
And that's like, I was listening to a podcast that was old and it was talking about some of the Actors Guild, like the Theater Actors Guild, like protest, strike things, but just that, you can come forward, but people don't want to come forward and state their name because that just means it ruins their career, whether they should be the ones that are getting ruined or not. But unfortunately, also, like, I'm not going to blame them for, not wanting to state their name. But then also, if you can't state your name, a lot of times it can't go anywhere.
Right.
Or it can't be legally, legal action can't be taken, or even press are not going to be interested, unfortunately. And so I think that, okay, I found that I think he addressed the claims. He had a relationship with a young girl while he was 20. And this was in June, Lexi.
Okay.
With Ansel Elgort. But most of these articles are from June, so I don't think anything really, he
Yeah, no.
Addressed the allegations and denied them, and I think that's all it went to.
Yeah.
So I think it's also with big names and big faces that people are more inclined to believe them versus someone coming forward
Yeah.
to address the situation. And so unfortunately that all, it's just like never in the support of the victim, which
Right.
is the culture that we have to change. And I think it's a process of time. Like, I don't think anyone expected it to turn around on the dime back in 2017, as nice as that would have been. But
Yeah.
I think also, I feel like time has passed enough that we're not forgetting about it, but we are kind of, in a sense, dropping our guard a little bit. I don't know.
Or
Since
are
it's
we
not
just
fresh in the
dealing with
mind.
are we just dealing with bigger issues right now?
I don't know.
Is it not, I want to say on the back burner, but that's sort of the best way I can phrase it. Is it just sort of like we've got a lot more to deal with right now, so it's not that it's, I don't know,
Any less important. It's
Yeah.
just that's what has been more recently in the light.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, how do you think this has and will continue to affect Hollywood and the industry in, like, the long run?
I hope that it'll continue gaining momentum and that we'll be more aware of these behaviors when they do come forth, if that makes sense. Like, because if someone is a bad person, I honestly believe that they'll reveal that in some time themselves, whether it's in a small way or in a big way. If someone doesn't do it for them before that. And I think we need to be aware of what people are saying and hold people accountable and use our voices when we can. And we need to support the people who come forth, because I mean, like we've all said, the reason that a lot of these women haven't come forth for years to share their stories is because they're afraid of being blacklisted or of just being pushed aside.
Backlash.
Yeah. And so I think
Yeah.
we need to show that support so that other women who have become victims of this can speak out or can feel comfortable speaking out.
And what about, like, as creatives ourselves, how we can either take the preventative measure, like, be able to create safe spaces and be aware that that needs to be an important part of whether you're producing a set or working in a production house or in an office, how you can keep a safe, comfortable space and just like as someone who is involved creatively, as someone who is a creative, you know, and a young creative, what are steps that we can take to change it for ourselves in a way, you know, like push for that change in administration, I suppose.
I think as much as you can, given your position, whether you're up at the top or you're somewhere down below or anywhere in the middle, try to create an atmosphere of openness for your peers where you are someone that they can talk to, and if someone tells you that something's happening, listen and tell the proper people. Mm-hmm. Don't just be like, wow, that's crazy, can't tell anybody, obviously. Mm-hmm. And I think also, oh god, what was I gonna say? Yeah, just create an atmosphere of openness. Don't let something slide. And there's something else I was gonna say. Fuck. Well, come back to me, I guess.
Just holding accountable mm-hmm. the actions of others. I think, you know, like you were saying earlier. And
yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
When it comes to people's actions, making sure that there are consequences, you know. Mm-hmm. And I think people are afraid to fire someone a lot of the times. Yeah. But sometimes it has to be done for the safety of others, and you know, you just have to own up to that in a way, mm-hmm. I guess, which it's hard to do, but I think having that bravery and that strength to do it.
Right. Someone's safety is more important than someone's career.
Right.
For sure. And maybe that's something, you know, and hopefully that's something that can start to change as a younger, new generation comes into the workforce, that our voices can help change what has been there for decades, centuries, mm-hmm. whatever time.
Kendall,
you know,
as someone going into the entertainment industry, are you worried about this kind of stuff?
I'm personally, I think I've always been fairly confident and able to hold myself well, and I think that's also just the way I was raised.
Right.
So I think, I don't know, and I mean, I've worked with plenty of people who have had these experiences, and then I've had to go work on a project with said what's the opposite of victim?
Offender?
Yeah, with the said offender, and oftentimes not by choice.
Right.
And so it's not an, I don't know, it's a weird place to be in, because it's like, yeah, I don't want to be here because I want to, not necessarily because I feel unsafe, but because I just want to support my friends and my colleagues. And so by continuing to work with the offender, it's like, how can I still make it safe and let your voice, you know, still support your voice without you know.
Yeah. No,
I think that's probably the harder part is going into the industry, how we can, I don't know. I think also being young and new in a sense, it's like how I think the fear is like, will people take you seriously? And so,
right.
You know, it's like you want to have your voice and you want to be able to speak up and support what should be supported and change what needs to be changed. But then it's also like, who's going to, you know, at the same time, are they going to listen to you, and how strong is your voice? You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's a lot
how
of
much
rambling
impact
words.
Do you
but
have?
yeah. Especially as a new unknown name that is just going in there, you know?
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a worry that I have. It's not, something that I think about a lot, but I think it's always something that's gonna be there. Like, is that something that's gonna happen if I am lucky enough to make it anywhere? But
Well, and also it could come out of nowhere
exactly,
sometimes.
exactly, and so you can't really, go into your career thinking that it's gonna happen, but it is kind of something you need to, I guess, prepare for. But then how do you prepare for it? I don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Change the culture.
Gavin, as a man, going into the field.
Um, my, and I'm going to apologize in advance if any of this sounds privileged, so, please stop me. My concern is not with my own actions towards other people, because that's not really the type of person I am, and I don't treat people that way. But I'm more concerned with potentially being in a situation with like I'm in a lower position and they're in this higher position and they're trying to like get me to do things or treat people in a way that like I know is not right, and then like I feel that like I know it's wrong, and then just like speaking out against that and trying to be able to say and call out things that are wrong, because calling out things gives me a lot of anxiety. Um,
And again,
so
it's also that like you're in the lower position,
right,
and I mean, your career should never be above the safety of yourself and others.
hmm,
But at the same
absolutely,
time, it's your livelihood and your life and I mean, it ideally is paying to keep you alive.
right,
So it is a cost, and so it's something that it takes a lot of, I think you have to be really, really brave and confident and strong to just do it right away, which isn't ideal, but also understandably, it is hard to make that decision.
yeah. So I mean, like primarily my concerns are being going into that potentially toxic environment, especially if it doesn't show its face right away, or it's like masquerading as like, oh, we're all friends and pals, and then it's turns out to be a secret pile of shit.
I think also with that, probably a fear is getting out. Once you're in, how do you get out? And maybe not even if you're like heavily involved, but even if it's just like you're just not comfortable for whatever reason. It could be a big reason or a little reason, but I think it's also always hard to be like, yeah, I can't work on this project. Sorry,
Hmm.
because no one wants to hear that.
Right.
And so I think that probably also keeps a lot of people on a project, even if they don't want to be, because
Right.
they're afraid to back out. But again, you're the safety of yourself and others,
Right.
you know?
And I like to think, hopefully, that if that situation were to arise, that I would do the right thing.
Right. Lexi, where do we go from here? What,
God.
I think we've brushed on it a little bit, what our hopes are for the future, but
Yeah. I think we just need to hold ourselves accountable and holding others accountable. Whether it's publicly speaking out against people in the public, or if we see someone in general life, but especially us as young creatives who are friends and peers with a lot of young creatives, is calling that behavior early, because there were definitely people that I met in college and attended classes with in college who had shitty mindsets that I can't imagine that kind of person becoming big. Like, I would not want them to become big in Hollywood and have any sort of influence. Gavin, just kidding. I'm totally kidding.
Fair enough.
But there were people that I met, and I think we need to just hold people accountable, try to nip that in the bud if we can. And yeah, speak out in support of others, defending others. Yeah, use our voices.
Yeah. I definitely agree for sure. And yeah, I think we're at a good place in our generation and at our age that we can come in with our voices and our stance and say, hey, this isn't right and y'all need to change, and we're going to change it because it's our time in the industry. I mean, yeah. Not that we're not taking over, but in a sense of there are practices and principles that have been around for far too long that are no longer acceptable, but also relevant.
Right.
They're not relevant anymore. So why do we still hold them? And I think we're at a good we're at a good place and a good age that we can be we can call out those others that
right
aren't.
I mean,
and I think
no, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think another big piece is just supporting each other and checking in with each other, making it habit to check in with your friends and your coworkers and your colleagues to be if something even seems the slightest off, being hey, we don't have to go into details, you don't have to tell me anything, but just checking in, being want to make sure everything's okay. And I think that's something, even just in general life.
Absolutely.
but it's important, especially when you're working I think the hard part with the film industry and even just theater is you're working so closely with so many people, and there's so many vulnerable places, especially for actors, but I think just creatives in general, that it's so vulnerable that it's easy for someone to sneak in and take advantage of those emotions.
Yeah. I think also it's just crazy with how long film has existed and this industry, especially Hollywood, has existed, and how slowly we've progressed. I mean, technologically, we're doing great, but we're still struggling to get
socially.
Yeah, equal representation of men and women and of white people and people of color, things like that. How, and I mean, with power imbalances too, how have we been so slow to progress in this such expansive amount of time?
Right.
It's crazy.
And honestly, it's kind of just America.
Yeah.
And the U.S. Because if you look at other cultures, they're fine. They have a lot of good representation. If you watch other people's stuff, they lots of representation. There's no big hoopla about it, really.
Yeah.
And people that are given the hoopla are just sort of we don't care about you anyways.
Yeah.
Just go away.
Yeah.
It is definitely an American thing.
Unfortunately,
American culture in a nutshell.
Not to brag, but we're kind of the best at being the worst.
The only thing we're the best at, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
That I'll admit to, at least. Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Do you have more thoughts? Any final words? Any?
Oh, God, I don't know. My brain is empty now.
Yeah. I think, and I just want to, this isn't a disclaimer, but I just want to say, I think with this episode, we're not trying to bring justice or anything. We're not, we're advocates, but we're not this isn't the change all.
Right.
45 minutes with us three is not,
This is going to change the world, you guys. Let's go.
It's not going to change the world, but I think we just wanted to bring out our voice and our thoughts, and it's been 3 years, and it's not something that we can kind of just brush under the rug and forget about. Right. And so I think that,
and we shouldn't.
I agree.
And especially as young creatives, I think we don't really have a lot of chance to talk about it or to say our thoughts and our perspective on it because no one wants to hear from the youth, really. I think
Fuck
so.
them
I don't know.
kids. Just kidding. Empower them kids.
Exactly, and that's I think that's that's what we want to, that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
We want to and we want to make sure it's something that can be talked about and can be approached and because that's how it can be changed. It's if no one's going to talk about it, no one's going to talk about it and nothing's going to happen.
Yeah.
And as unfortunate as it is, it's a part of the industry we're going into, so ignoring it is
It can't. Yeah, it's something we can't
just
ignore.
wrong
So
and kind of disrespectful
Yeah, it's not really an
to
option.
everybody.
yeah. Yeah. Well, I don't know.
To try and hopefully end on a lighter note, we like to do random topic time, where we pull a piece of paper out of a box with a random topic on it, and then we'll talk about that.
Okay.
We will talk about that. Let's take a deep breath to clear our. And now it's random topic time. Okay. So, I have a bunch of topics that, like 2 years ago, I had people at Central write onto sticky notes for us.
Did I do that?
Do you have a color preference? Huh?
Did I do that?
You might have done some of these. I brought them to like film club and
Oh, I didn't go to film club 2 years ago.
I don't know. Do you have a color preference between pink, blue, and yellow?
Yellow.
Yellow it is. More yellow.
More yellow. Would you fuck a ghost?
Would I fucking no? Is that really
Can
the
you fuck a
question?
ghost?
In American Horror Story, you
I
can.
remember that. No.
That is really the
It
question.
would feel like, even though it's not a dead body, it's a spirit, it would feel like necrophilia, and that's just gross.
Right, and also, how does that work?
I'm going on the assumption
can
that
you?
it
That's
is
my
possible.
question.
I'm going on the assumption that it's somehow possible. No, I would not.
And
also,
how would it feel in compare? Like, would it?
softer. I don't know. Because ghosts don't have blood.
Right.
So, I don't think
So,
something about the mechanics
How-
feels off to
also,
me.
would it just be really, really cold?
Yeah, probably.
I feel like no. I feel like no
I
has
feel
to be
like
the answer
This is
here.
the same.
I feel like the
Uh,
cons outweigh the pros in this situation. Because also, if we learned anything from American Horror Story, spoilers if you haven't seen Murder House, all it does is create the Antichrist. So,
Oh, I forgot about that.
should we really be fucking ghosts?
Will it
No.
always create the Antichrist,
Don't
though?
do it.
Or just in that instance?
Not
Seems like too big of a risk.
necessarily,
So,
but you can never be sure
you're right.
with a ghost.
It's too
And
big of
you
a
don't
risk,
want
I
the
think.
Will not
apocalypse.
prevent the Antichrist.
Oh my god. Okay, let's do another one.
I feel like that's a really good pro-life slogan.
This is, yeah, honestly. Okay.
Can you abort the Antichrist?
Probably not.
Can you? I feel like every movie they have where they try that doesn't work.
God damn it.
Yeah.
These are horrible. Okay, Lexi, how do you want to die?
Oh God.
We might have to do a third one.
Okay. These are dark.
This is what happens when you let Jack do these.
Oh God, you're right. I would like to die peacefully in my sleep, like at an old enough age where I've been able to, live my life, but not too old where it's like, why am I not dead already? Like I don't want to be miserable, but I want to feel satisfied that like I've lived enough life. So like 35. Just kidding, obviously.
Okay.
I've always just wanted to die on my birthday. That's it. That's like the only thing I've ever wanted.
Yeah.
When's your birthday?
I think just peacefully, just
Oh, I'm not going to share that information.
that's how we, yeah. Do you believe?
What?
Do I believe in...
That's all it is.
Do I-
Do you believe?
I believe in things, yes.
Sometimes.
Not a lot of things, and not lately, but yes.
Yeah.
Sometimes I do.
Yeah.
Let's just do all of these.
Okay, we're gonna get a really good one, I swear.
I don't
Should we
feel
switch
like that's
colors?
gonna happen.
Should
Huh?
we switch colors?
Do a blue one.
Do a blue one?
Yeah. I feel like these yellow ones are stinkers. It's all your fault.
They're a
Honestly.
little sad and existential.
We're trying to end on a light note, Kendall.
Traveling? Question mark?
I do
Wow, what a
travel
good one.
sometimes, not currently, but sometimes.
Not currently. What, Lexi? Where? Yeah. What? Have you ever gone out of the country? What?
I've been
kind of
to
traveling do you do?
Vancouver,
Have you done?
BC.
Okay. Canada. Great. We love.
I've been to Puerto Rico, which is technically part of the country, but this is before
Off the
this is
mainland.
before the hurricanes. That's it. I do like Canada, though. I
Would
wanna go
you?
back.
Yeah. Is there some place you want to go to that you've never
Oh,
been?
so many places. I want to go to New York. I've never been. I want to go to Toronto. It just seems like a cool place. I want to tour Europe.
Uh-huh.
That's all. I mean, other places too. I want to go to Disney World,
Have
but
you-
not Florida. Just Disney
Yeah.
World.
Fair enough.
We'll
No
bring
one
it
wants
to
go
you.
Florida.
Exactly.
Have you traveled a lot in the States?
Not like a lot, but like a fair amount. A lot of it was like school stuff. Like when I was in choir in high school, we'd do.
Oh, yeah. You went a lot of places with
And
Pulse.
with Pulse, yeah. So it was a lot of that. And then like other places with my family, but the more frequent ones were on school trips.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Farthest I've actually like been for a while is I went to Iowa. I did technically go to New Jersey and Philly, but that was just like a plane ride because I was going to Italy.
You're going to Italy?
Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah,
you went-
last November. Wait,
After you graduated.
yeah, after I graduated, I
It
went
was
That's so
lame.
much
with my
fun.
grandpa. We went for like 2 weeks. We went to Venice. We were there for a couple days. Went on a boat. Went to like Croatia, Montenegro, couple other places. I saw somewhere they filmed Game of Thrones.
Ooh.
Then we went to Rome for a couple days. I don't like Rome. Rome is probably my least favorite place I've ever been. It's so gross.
Why is it gross? Is it just like dirty?
It's really dirty and there's a lot of trash everywhere. And there's a lot of graffiti.
Interesting.
The countryside is really pretty though. But the city itself is not so good.
Okay. Well, now I know.
Yeah. Now you know.
I did get to go to the Vatican.
Ooh.
It was fine.
Yeah.
Saw the Sistine Chapel. You're not allowed to talk in there.
I don't think I could do it.
Nobody does it. There's people talking left and right.
Yeah.
What about you, Kendall?
I've been lucky enough to actually travel out of the country a fair amount. I've been to Kenya, and I've been to Europe. Places I've like actually visited are England, Ireland, and Amsterdam. But I have driven a train through Belgium and France. But it was just a lot of countryside.
What were you doing in Kenya?
I went with my family to a hospital that my great grandparents were missionaries at, and that my grandmother was actually born at.
Okay.
And her siblings were raised over there, and so my grandmother spent this last half of her life going back over there every few years, just supporting the ministry and the hospital. It's in a little remote town outside of Nairobi, so it's a couple hours outside. So they don't have a lot over there, but they have a hospital, and my dad and his sisters kind of picked up where she left off, and so I have continued that connection. And when my dad went once when I was in like second grade, and then he was going to go again when I was in 8th grade, and he wanted to bring us along, so we were able to go.
That's awesome.
Which was it was a pretty cool experience. It's not something a lot of people get to do, and it wasn't like through any corporation or anything. Like a lot of people would go on with mission trips. It was our family and my cousins and my aunt and uncle, and I would just go there. We have. Well, I don't know how many people are actually still alive, but like it was cool for my dad. Like my dad got to meet his mother's nanny,
Nice.
who was still alive at that point, and got to meet some of the pastors that they've had connections with over email and whatnot, and a lot of like my mom is a nurse, and so it was really cool for her to go see how the hospital works. And then my dad works in IT, so he's been able to bring over a lot of like technology for them, which is pretty cool, and to set up computers and whatnot for them to kind of have a better database and whatnot. So
Okay.
that's a long story, but yeah.
Well, we finally did it. We ended on not a topic
We
about
did.
ghosts.
We did.
It only took us 4 tries, but we did it.
Amazing.
Woo! Well,
We appreciate y'all tuning in.
yeah, and thank you, Lexi, for coming in and giving us your voice and ear on this topic, and hopefully it was good and not too bad.
It was a pleasure.
And yeah, thanks for sticking with
So,
us.
come back next week if you weren't too depressed by this one.
Hold on, we'll give you some incentive. We are going to talk about Hellboy.
Hellboy.
So if that doesn't encourage you,
The good one. Not, well, we're going to talk about the new one too.
just come back. Thanks.
Please.
And you know what?
Please and thank you.
You know what, though? As heavy as this topic was, I think it's also enlightening to imagine that we are going towards a better future. So it's not all terrible.
There we go. Yes. And with those wise words, I think that's it. I think that's where we got to end.
Goodbye, everyone.
So thank you.
Bye.
Have a good one. Have a good week.
Tune in next week.
Outro music.